Good morning. It is 5 a.m. on January the 10th, 2019, and we're looking at the price of Bitcoin. Good morning. It is 5 a.m. on January. Sorry about the echo. We're looking at the price of Bitcoin. Overnight, prices went from 41.30 down to 38.70, 38.60. A pretty quick move, and people are now wondering, what does this mean for the altcoins? Hey Kieran, good to have you here. I know you're already part of our Discord group, but I'm going to put the link there for anybody else who's following along. Join our Discord channel and come and talk about cryptocurrencies all day long with me and us. How is my sound? Is the sound good here today? Some days I have the sound muted, some days it's quieter than others. So you'll have to let me know. The question now is, what's going to happen with all the altcoins with Bitcoin doing this move? And how big and significant really is this? Because I'm zoomed in on the 5-minute bars. And before I go on, I want to bring up two things. My disclaimer to say that none of this is financial advice. This is my own trading journal. This is my own speculation. It's all hypothetical results. And while when addressing financial matters in any of my books, my website, my videos, my courses, my alerts, every effort is taken to ensure that it really accurately represents the strategies that I use and that I think are beneficial for you, but there are no guarantees of results. And second, I want to announce our cryptocurrency trading course that's going on right now. It is a 3-week intensive. The timing is perfect for the way the markets are setting up. And this is recommended by Gunbot University, another great program, another great service, really good information here at Gunbot University as well. And they're recommending our trading course. Even though they offer top-notch education, they also recommend our 3-week intensive training course, and you can use their discount code GBU and you will save 20% off the price of our cryptocurrency trading course, the 3-week intensive, which comes with a lifetime membership into our exclusive community. Now, back to the price of Bitcoin. Could we have predicted this? Here's a screenshot from yesterday where Bitcoin had just broken these levels, and I wrote a thing in our Discord chat saying, hey, look, Ethereum is at this trend line, Litecoin is on this trend line, Bitcoin is just broken below its trend line, and here's what Stellar is doing. And now we can see about a day later what has actually happened. This continued its breakdown. This broke down below that trend line, and so did Litecoin. There was just a really clear moment where when one of them is breaking, the rest of them follow along. So how significant is this? When we're looking at that screenshot, and we're looking at the real-time screenshot here now, if we go to the 4-hour view, we can see that we're still inside a larger 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, and prices have not come down to threaten old lows. Although on Bitcoin prices, they are coming back to some pretty important technical levels. It wouldn't be unusual in a larger 1, 2, 3 bottom formation for this to come down to $3,500 and bottom in around these levels before going up and higher, and that would just create a much larger support and base for our bottom formation if Bitcoin were to do that. When we zoom out to the 4-hour view in Litecoin, still way above the breakout level of its bottom formation, certainly is a not unusual for a movement to move up this high and then pull back in this development of an uptrend stage. Ethereum as well, it's above this bottom formation shape at these prices right now. So it's all quite a normal movement to come up that high and pull back these levels, establish another grounding here at these support and resistance levels before turning off and going higher from here. It's a normal movement and staging movement that I'm seeing here so far. And I'm still believing that we're going to see higher prices up to the $5,500 level before a big strike down. And it's kind of my conspiracy theory where I think that everybody who is bearish still can have more money wrung out of them. So as the prices get down here and it's looking so great and bearish, they're all jumping on their short positions and they have their stop losses too close. The automated bots can see all that mathematics of where everybody's trades are. And when they get everybody squeezed to the greatest amount emotionally, then prices go the other way, squeeze the daylights out of all the shorts, and prices come up to such a beautiful level. They look like it's going to be bull forever. Everybody starts jumping on the long positions with their stop losses all too close. And then the alts will crash that down. And that'll be the ultimate cleanup of all of the Bitcoin in the world at that big drop down. That's going to be a huge industrial shift from all the Bitcoin being in all of these believers' hands to the industries, the larger players swooping in and squeezing up all of that coin. Good to have you here. Hey, Klaus. Good to have you along as well. If you guys have any specific questions, let me know. This isn't the normal time of the day when I do a live stream, but Bitcoin making these moves, I'm going to go through all the charts now and see what the alts are doing anyway. And so I thought I would just do a live stream and record it. I'm glad the sound is good. Good morning, Triangle. Good to have you here. So we've been looking at these altcoins coming down to this bottom formation now for months. In fact, I believe I sent out an email August 1st saying to all of the lifetime members, now's the time to start paying attention, because we had seen a low in July. Prices had given a bit of a burst. Here's our 1, 2, 3 bottom formation shaping up at this time. Really looking great. Right at this moment, things are looking great. We have our downtrend line. We have our 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. We have the moving averages coming to cross over. Prices breaking higher. It's looking great. This is the first warning signs of the turnaround of the downtrend. And as we know, prices continue down from there. And down from there. And down until August 13th was an important day. September the 12th was an important day. October the 11th or something was an important day, and then November the 14th. It seems like almost once a month there was a real important test of cryptocurrency prices. So I've seen them coming down and coming down and coming down, and these bottom formations getting less space between them. So there's a big space here, then there's less space here, now there's less space again. And if you were to do a Fibonacci on those, where those bottoms were, you can see the momentum is riding out now. The momentum is leveling off. We're having less downward momentum here, and we're definitely seeing these 1, 2, 3s shaping up still. And though, like we were looking at yesterday's video, if we go back and we compare, I don't know if this market will have enough data. No, it's too new. Let's go way back. Back to 2015. So here is 2014. Prices came down. They made this bottom formation, and it took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months before prices really started to take off on their trend. And so this is where we could be now, is in Bitcoin is going to be in this sideways frame for a long time. All of the altcoins did this sideways thing for this whole long time as well. There was a lot of different type of trading to do in order to make money in this. So we have to trade for a choppy market, trade for a range-bound market, and not be trading for the trend. So if we're trading for the trend, then we want to keep holding because we don't want to get kicked out too soon. We want to be in there for that whole long trend. But since the market has not started to show us the trend, right, the tide hasn't started to come in yet, we're still watching the waves come back and forth, we haven't seen the change of the tide yet, then we have to be trading for tidal waves. Either that or just step back and just watch things and don't put a great deal of time into trading the cryptos for now, but do other things that let you earn money so that you can put more money into cryptos, because as you're doing other things and you're earning more money and you're putting it into cryptos, there will be a time where the tide turns and it's the moment to be paying attention. And we'll see as this plays out. There's no way to know, of course, what the future brings. We'll see as it plays out. But this is where we are now in 2019 after we've seen this retracement and we're into this sort of a bottom formation. We must see prices come up above these levels before the tide can be possibly changing. And so we have a little bit of time yet before things get going like that. In the meantime, we can see over on Binance that we only have a very few coins in the green right now, and many coins are down in the red pretty good, all the way down along the line. Just as a quick way to go and do a survey. Now what I want to do is go through all the coins on Poloniex, just because it's a limited number. There's like 55 of them. And I just want to get a picture in my mind of how are these bottom formations doing. This one is still fine. We're still inside this 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. And I'm also looking now, if Bitcoin is going to go down, then what are the alts going to do? Is there going to be a trend line that's showing prices are breaking? Is there another trend line that's showing things are failing off in this market? I want to see overall in a repeating survey from market to market. Here's a good one. This is negative. Okay, so basic attention token was coming down and making these patterns that looked like it might be a good reversal, might be a good swing trade entry, looked like it was making a bottom formation here. And then as we zoom in on the 1 month view, we can see this was a potential bottom formation and everything was all looking to be bullish, but this one's broken down below these levels and didn't give us a trading signal there, even though we were watching for it. BCH ABC cracked, coming down. BCH SV must be the same thing. Yeah, also cracked and coming down. Really important technical levels. So the more of them that we're seeing looking weak at technical levels where we can identify a clean trend line, this is a top formation, and a break below that is a really like a shoulder ahead, a shoulder down below this side is going to be sailing quite a bit lower. There's not much support down below this specific market. BCN is probably one of the best vehicles to have your money in because it's only got a 1 Satoshi range in price right now. BNT, okay, it was giving us this bottom formation, gave us this pre-pump pattern, and now it's being compressed down, but still not making new lows. Here's our trend line that I'm watching for now. I'm watching to see if there's this common trend line out of a little wee baby 1, 2, 3 top formation here in all of the alts. How about BitShares? Okay, it doesn't give a clean trend line. It doesn't look like it's broken down to new lows yet. How is Burst doing? All right, so this is down to new lows, although no clean trend line on that break. It is down to new lows. So there's a second one where we've had BAT breaking to new lows from where it was. BCH ABC, BCH SV looking like it. Burst is down to new lows. How about Clams? Well, we've got 3 times at this top and making a weak formation here right at this trend line. So there's another one that's making that trend line with the break. Civic Coin is threatening to new lows, and that's bad. This is something I was expecting to see, a bottom formation and some higher prices out of this area, and to have it going to new lows is a bad indicator. Here's another one. There's our trend line break right on that very same moment. out of this sort of a potential top formation now. And we can see this was, coming up to break this downtrend line, but didn't do a very good job of it. And now we're getting weaker. So the more of this weakness I see all over the place here as we're coming down and we're pressing on lows, hasn't broken them yet. But if I draw this in as a trend line, that's an important attempt to go higher, and then weakness. So generally, I'm not liking what I'm seeing here. Here's another potential 1, 2, 3 top formation that was shaping up so nicely. People were pointing it out, and now it's cracked down below these levels, and that is bearish looking. Over and over again, we're seeing bearish. This one should be looking bullish. Not much difference in this chart, though. How's EOS? All right, so there's another one 4 times off this top, and now it's breaking this trend line. And a break of that trend line is bearish. This is a get out signal. Take your profit on this. If you had bought in down here, this would be your take your profit and step aside. And since Bitcoin's getting softer, maybe take your profit, step aside into a stable coin, into a fiat. Let me refresh that page. Sometimes Bitcoin prices in the background there get all wonky. Okay, but that's a top formation looking for me. Ethereum Classic was one that we had a buy signal in here. Prices moved above our entry, so we moved up our stop. It came back down and hit our stop and kicked us out at a very small profit, and now it's showing weakness as well. And if I whip a quick trend line onto that, that's another one that's coming to a clean trend line and breaking down below it. In all of these alts, we're seeing this over and over again. So Ethereum, we already saw this one. And actually, we had observed this one on the Saturday before, too. Look at this trend line. Look at that break. Called that a bearish movement. But then, as we can see right in here in Ethereum, as it broke this top and was coming down, Bitcoin was showing strength. And for my own part, I let the Bitcoin showing strength override my bear call in Ethereum. And I had reversed my positions here so that I was being more into short positions and fiat currency, into a stable coin. But then Bitcoin started to take off, and I had already switched positions and congratulating myself for being smart. Now everything has gone down. And important trend line breaks here. So let's continue on. I'm good to have you along for a live stream. I haven't been doing them as regular. I started to try some that pre-recorded and did some editing and set them up as premieres. But I think the live stream is better received. And for me, it just fits into my time of what I'm doing more naturally. So I'm looking for Factum to be giving me a bottom formation here and some strength, but it's not giving me enough of a turnaround, even though it's at great technical levels all the way along. I still need more of this to turn around and come higher and show strength out of this to be jumping in. Even though it could be the right moment, it's not grabbing me. Let's take a look at foam, which I haven't done very much of. It's a new market. It's coming down. Hasn't given a turnaround enough yet to say it's a bottom formation, so that's probably why I haven't talked about it much. Game. Okay, this was coming out of a bottom formation and still showing some strength. It hasn't given that break of these levels. It's got a trend line, and it hasn't started to break that yet. So this is one of the few that isn't. Here, gas is breaking that trend line that it was building up a bottom formation, give us some pre-pump patterns. Now it's giving us some indigestion, some nervousness. Here's one that kept getting my attention, and I kept getting tagged in it. So I would go long here and have to get out, gone long here and have to get out, and then I stepped back a little bit more wary and didn't get tagged in on any of these ones. Now it's coming down to new lows, which is a surprise to me. I kind of like this project, but it's coming down to new lows. Hunter coin, it's been really wild. This one caught me on an entry here and got kicked out here, and then I'm stepping back from it. So I'm just watching it. Kyber network token also giving us that break of the pretty strong break here. So we're getting these all over the place. Generally, when we get them all over the place, it's a change of trend. We'll find it on a specific day, at a specific moment, things broke, and at that moment, everything changed. And Lisk, right back to some of its extreme lows here. Litecoin, as we know, it made a really nice run up and it's pulled back. There's its break of its trend line, but it's still way above earlier moves. And so this is quite, this is all fine. A lot of the other ones are bottom formations that are breaking before they really took off above the bottom formation. And so those ones are more bearish. MadeSafe coins really took a bath. Mana also. So this one broke its uptrend way back here after their big promotion. That was quite expected. We closed our positions at profit on that. Nav coin is making a triangle formation. It was looking like it was going higher, but now it's breaking these levels. Really key that it's also breaking at the same time as everything else. How about Namecoin? So this one was a surprise takeoff. We did some great profits on it, moved our stop loss up a little bit too close, got tagged on this reverse popcorn move. So we got out at a nice profit, but half the profit we would have had at this time. And it's not cracking its uptrend yet, even though many of the other ones are. NXT is coming down to even newer lows, lower lows than it was before. So that's bad to see any of them making new lows. OMG was making a potential nice bottom formation shaping up, and it's cracked lower. So we're just getting this over and over again on all these coins. Omni was looking pretty weak with lots of down candles. Pascal coin was making a great formation. It's actually shown a tick to the upside here since Bitcoin's moved down. That's like the only one. Poly is very new, but it's also breaking lower. Quantum just gave us a buy signal, just came up into our trading area. Oy, oy, oy. Just came up into our trading area, tagged us in, and now it's pulled back. So it hasn't pulled back below our pre-assigned stop levels, but because it's no longer proving us correct and everything else is getting weak, this would be something to close that position if you had just opened that. Rule number 1, it's not proving you correct. Rep was a market that was looking so close, but it's now come up and showed weakness at a key point here. So we can call that an uptrend, and that it's breaking down below that while everything else is breaking is telling. So it was really building up to a nice formation. I almost tagged us into our buy signal here, and now it's fading back, I would imagine. SBD, I don't know this market, but because Bitcoin's showing softness, it's showing strength. Siacoin, I've been watching for this for such a long time, and it's still going sideways. It really didn't dive much with Bitcoin's move down here. It doesn't have very much room to go down further. SNT, this is like the only one that's showing strength as Bitcoin's doing its drop right here. So it dropped a bit, and it's recovered, and looks like it's going up. Just from this last 5 minutes bars of the last couple hours, it's the only market that's got strength like that. Steam took a bath with Bitcoin. So here's another uptrend that was broken as this bottom formation was just trying to shape up. How's storage doing? This is another favorite of mine. Also took a whack down, but nowhere near as well. It's a pretty good whack down. It's right down at historical lows right now. Lumens was showing some strength just before and really took a step back as Bitcoin did its 1 week view. So we're back to similar levels. So Bitcoin was down at these levels, so was STR. And as Bitcoin returned to these levels, so did STR, pretty much matching it. But pretty key levels on lumens or stellar. If I zoom out to the 3-month view, zoom back again, we can see we got these nice support and resistance levels all the way along here. But if I zoom back a bit further, then it gets more scary. Now we're out onto the bungee cord jumping area, where there's just nothing down below these prices for a long ways. So if prices do break these levels and it does get that bearish, we've got a long ways to go down in lumens. This is not a good thing for people holding lumens, but there are short markets where you can go short in these things. So the more I'm looking at this, the more, like over and over again, we're seeing a pessimistic moment as all these prices are all breaking important technical levels. So here's another one that had a great triangle formation building up and weakness from there. It hasn't broken down to really a bearish move. It's just a reset. Viacoin is inside its range, actually giving a tick of strength as Bitcoin has come down. This has got a little bit of buying coming into it. VTC, counterparty, not much movement there. XEM took another step back, and this one has been dropping and dropping. This was a favorite for lots of people. We saw this big candle to the upside, another one, looking so inviting here. But it's actually, these are exhaustion candles, as we see afterwards, that these are the moments where sellers are coming in big time. Excited people are buying, and knowledgeable sellers are just selling all of their stuff. So down it comes to these old historical levels, and we're getting all of these coins now testing larger 1, 2, and making larger 1, 2, 3s at the same time as Bitcoin is doing it. How about okay, Monero took a big jump down too. And I was just seeing Monero building up into a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, and actually put on this alert yesterday to say, well, you know what? It's meeting all the requirements. It's got the break of the downtrend line. It's got the 1, 2, 3 bottom. The moving averages are almost crossing over. And we're looking at the 12-hour bar view, even though I was thinking pessimistically of Monero. The RSI was diverging, the on-balance volume was looking good, and down we go anyway. Primecoin didn't really react much. It's had an amazing trend line down, and it's made a bottom formation here. Not much going on, though. Ripple, we've seen it building and building, and then come to this last bit here as it was fading off. It was right down to really important technical levels, leveled off there and gave us a bit of hope, and then just got smashed right back down. But it's still right at these such important technical levels, and they're important. If we zoom out to a longer term view, you can see that right as we are now, this is now support of all of these levels back here, and it's support from all these levels here. A breakdown below that would kill all that support. Our next level of support would be this second line, and a break below that would be, it's heading back a good deal if it breaks below that second line. We're going at least to the 6,500 from the 9,100 or 8,700 if it breaks down there. So these are pretty key bear or support levels. Zcash, we can see it's down to new lows here. And if I zoom in on this and zoom in again, except for that, it was actually looking like it was could have been building to a turnaround. We got lower highs, lower lows, and then it broke even lower as Bitcoin did its break here. So it does look like we are going to see lower alts, lower Bitcoin further yet. We're not done the downtrend. We haven't hit our bottom formations yet in everything. Now, if you have a specific market you'd like me to take a look at while we're here live, feel free to ask in the chat. And if you found any of this information helpful, if this is helping you with any part of your crypto trading, hit that thumbs up button. Give me a like. So overall, it does look like that right now, for the next short while, we're looking at more bear coming in. I don't know how deep it'll go. I'm a perma bull, and when we're in this kind of formation, I'm still not yet seeing, I'm not getting the feel yet that we're in for that big crash. I'm just my conspiracy theory. I think that we're going to see more strength yet. We'll sort of hover around in these levels here. I don't think the alts are going to break to new lows. I think they'll all hold these lows. They may get down to scary levels and really press it, but I'm anticipating they're going to hold these lows. We're going to see that run of Bitcoin up to the $5,500 level, maybe $5,700. The longer this takes to build up, the more that this will make a run up to these levels. And if it does, this is where I'm watching for those top formations and to get out into fiat currency. This could be the time right now. I could be wrong, and it could be earlier that this is the time to go to fiat and step back and wait and watch for a while. But I'm anticipating less down, more middle range of up, and from here, a pretty serious move downward. We'll have to see if I'm right or not. Check out Neo. Good to have you here. Bad news triplet. We'll go over to Binance. Filter by BTC. And scroll down to Neo. Neo was looking pretty good. We've got this bottom formation. We've got a nice 1, 2, 3. And then it broke above that and gave us a buy signal. And it's kind of breaking this uptrend line, but it gave us like two different 1, 2, 3 bottom formations here. We've got the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation here, sort of a range where prices broke up above it, came down and retested it, gave us another consolidation pattern, which would give us another 1, 2, 3 formation. Hits the 2, comes back and retests the 3, but doesn't go lower. Up and past the 2, we could call these retests now of this level. And so then I would say then a break below this would be, depending on when you got in. If you got in down here, you're still fine to be leaving your stop just above your entry point and ride it out. Wait to see if this is the bottom. If you got in up here, then it's time to reevaluate it and get out and wait for it to come back and make another consolidation deeper inside here that may give a better entry. So it depends on where your entry is, what your strategy needs to be right now. Good to have you, Bad News. And I appreciate having you guys along. I like having people watching and asking questions. Often you'll ask questions of things that I never paid attention to, and it really opens my eyes up too. So you got in around $5. So you're looking at Neo USD. And I must say that I'm always out of the loop when it comes to USDT. So we're at 8. Well, if you got in at $5 for my own approach, then I'm good to hold that. I put my stop loss in at $5 and a bit, and I just sit and let this do its thing. Just wait for it, because I'm trying to err on the side of being there for that long-term trend. And so while we're making the bottom formations and prices are coming down, and I get a good entry, I want to try to stay in that and keep my stop down as minimal as possible and try to stay in that trade. Getting into a trade cleanly is always difficult. And if you can get into a trade, you want to stay in that trade. And and it comes up and then it pulls back and you leave your stop way back and it does a consolidation and then it continues on. This is the kind of thing that I'm trying to stay in the market for, is to give the market enough room that I'm in it for the longer term once I get into a profitable trade. So I try to kill the non-profitable trades quickly, and I try to stay in the ones that have proven me correct. I try to stay in them. And then we'll see over, like, it takes 6 weeks, sometimes 8 weeks for the next step of these markets. Certainly this bottom formation has been shaping up since the middle of December, so we've got a good 3 weeks here just in this bottom formation. Usually takes a while. TRX, good to have you here, AOL Chandra, one of our mods. So we're in Binance, limit by Bitcoin, scroll down to T. TRX. Wow, TRX has really taken off. So this is a great successful trade. What's it doing right now? So it's really reacted to what Bitcoin is up to. And how would you trade this? Well, perfectly, of course, would be that trailing stop that as soon as it made this top formation, you jumped out. Because it's easy to see in hindsight. All this technical analysis is easy to see after it's done. Here's our RSI divergence as it made the 1, 2, 3 top. The RSI was diverging. The unbalanced volume was stepping up and showing that, you know, Bitcoin's dropping. This would be a time to exit this trade at that moment. But in the longer term perspective, we got into this trade. Our alert was way back on December the 18th. Then it came back and consolidated, and we said, okay, let's add on to this trade here at this time. And so now we would have both stop losses up above the 540 level and just leave it, hands off. Really trying to hope that we stay in the trade from here. Hoping that the trade will stay above our entries and do whatever it needs to do up in these levels, but stay above where our stop loss is, and then maybe go up higher from there. You could have a staged stop losses so that the first one has a stop loss just above its entry to protect that money, and the second one has a stop loss lower, but just above its entry to protect that money. So you're still giving the market all the room it needs, trying to stay into as much of that position as possible for as long as possible, because we really are looking for that 18-month move now in all of the altcoins. So we don't want to be getting out way too soon. Here's the 1-year view, and this is a big bowl shape, a big bottom formation. This really could take its time and build a long ways here before going significantly up further, and being patient on this is the key thing. And then we've got a request from Klaus to look at EDO. A, B, C, D, E. EDO in the very long term looks great. It really looked like it's going to be going up. Zoom into the 3-month view. And we've got to respect the trend line now. We have this trend line, and we have a few different places where this is broken out. There's a few different layers of support now, all the way from back here. That's a key level of support. In these levels, key levels, depends on where you got into this trade now, what you should be doing. So if you got into it down here, you're still fine to leave your stop losses just above your entry and hang out and leave this to see if it stays within these ranges and then goes higher. Here, again, stop loss just above your entry. And if you just got into it on this takeoff here, this is the most sketchy moment. And it depends on your entry. Because if I got in just at this breakout right here, then it's coming back and it's almost not proving me correct. And so rule number one is almost something I want to be taking. Just because I'm seeing everything else topping and this is topping, if I had just gotten into this trade, then I'd be wanting to get out and reevaluate. Give it that time to come back into these levels and see what kind of consolidation pattern it makes. So if it does come back into these levels and makes another consolidation and gives us something to bite onto, here would be a trade shape that we could make a decision on. Most of the time, the market is in between those shapes. It's ranging along. It's too high. It's too low. It's not giving a consolidation properly. It doesn't have the RSI divergence. It doesn't have the on-balance volume shape changing. There's only a few moments of time where it comes to those moments that it gives you a place to take a decision. And so if it's not giving me that decision, I want to step out and hang out and watch and wait for that moment. But in the long term, this is looking like it's got some real great movement to do. Even if it were to take all this time to do whatever it needs to do, I think it's got lots of upside in this one, just by the big shape of this market. And I just don't know, but that's just the shape of the market gives me that view. So we got 12 people watching right now. Crazy time of the morning to be up and watching. Where in the world are you from? Are you from North America up at 5:45? Or are you up and are you from Europe or from a different country? Do you like these live streams at this time of the day, or do you prefer them later in the evening? Because normally I would be doing these 12 hours from now rather than at this time. You're in North America and you're up and you're at work, or you're getting ready for work. I love those jobs where you can be doing cryptocurrency research while you're at work. And AOL Chandra, I know you're from India, and so this is probably evening time for you now. Are there any markets on? Well, let's take a look at. So here we have intro to cryptos.ca. Registration for our 3-week intensive cryptocurrency trading course closes on Saturday. And on this sales page, talk about how I went from zero to over $500,000 trading cryptocurrencies, and how I've been teaching this same course since 2015 over and over again. And recently we started up doing an alerts service. So here are some of the top alerts in our notifications. So we're up 63% on TRX, we had just looked at. We're up 44% on Link. Let's go take a look at Link. So Link, there was a bottom formation way back here that we didn't get a trading signal on, but we noticed it afterwards. Easy to see. And then as we were trading Link, we were watching this top formation here. We saw this consolidation happen and gave us our trading signal. And now we're up some 44%. And the stop loss in this is really just sitting there back as far as possible to leave this trade on, and hopefully this is going to be going on for a much larger uptrend. So we really are doing the long-term play on this with a little bit of profit locked in. And so this trade, I wouldn't be entering it now if I'm looking at it. It's giving a 1, 2, 3 top formation. Bitcoin is fading off. If I zoom in closer on this, it didn't break hard at the moment that Bitcoin broke. It's actually softening off before. So it's not directly connected to the price of Bitcoin like many others are. And still, it's not a buy signal right now. It would have to come back and consolidate more and give us another one of these patterns before we could consider jumping into this market. So if you're not already into this at one of these trading signals, step aside on this market and just watch it. Where is this? Okay, next one is ADA and then Litecoin. Night shift is a good time to work, especially if you're up at the end of your shift and you get to watch some cryptocurrency videos. So ADA, I'm not exactly sure when our trading signal was in this. Could have been out of this little 1, 2, 3 bottom formation that we nailed it. That would have been fantastic. Then we see this ascending wedge triangle and prices breaking out from there right at the old breakout levels for September, October, November. Then we made the December bottom formation, consolidating and breaking higher. This kind of thing makes it look like all of the altcoins are right at the end of that bottom formation and we're beginning the trend on the bull market. So this is one of the ones that really looks great, and that it's pulling back a bit is okay. If it gets deeper into this stuff, it'll be less good. So again, it's the one that I wouldn't be buying into now if you hadn't already bought into it. But it was looking great. We had some great trading signals out of it, and that's why we're up some 33% on that. And now I know Litecoin we did a great trade on as well. HIJK, Litecoin. And this one, certainly wouldn't be buying into it now. It's got a lot of consolidation to do. But this one we were really watching close, and we were watching this bottom formation right here. And this is where we put our trade signal in. And so when we got our trade signal, prices took right off above it, never came back to retest it. We've got our stop loss way down low, and we're just waiting to see what Litecoin does, giving it all the space it needs. So this is another one of those altcoins that was looking like a great bottom formation, looking like it's actually staging that this would be the earliest beginnings of that long-term bull trend, that the tide has actually changed, and it's not just a wave. Now we'll have to wait and see if EDO and, what was that? ADA, actually, and Litecoin, and we saw EUS earlier. If these coins stay and the prices come back and just bounce off of the top of their 1, 2, 3 bottom formations here, this is more indicators that the tide has indeed changed and we are going to be going the other way. So some of these levels are really key now to see, are we just experiencing a wave, or is this the tide change? So the volume is okay to hear, but not as great as the earlier videos. Let me get closer to the mic. And I turned up the gain a little bit. There, that might be better. And all those settings, it's good to get your feedback on them so that I'm doing them as correctly as possible. AGI and F. Let's take a look at those. Okay, we did see both EDO and EOS. That's what it gets me. All right, AGI was making a great AGI is making a great formation. One of my favorites, actually. This big bowl shape, and then the consolidation, and it made this ascending wedge triangle and burst above it. I was going, here it goes. And now it's pulled back into this ascending wedge triangle. So the longer it stays in here, the deeper it goes in there, the less good it is for the overall feeling of that bull market tide coming in. So this is actually pretty important to see it coming back like that. And again, we're up some 23% in that trade. And it's because we got in way back here and held through this dip, I do believe. We saw this ascending wedge triangle back in December and set the stop loss low enough, took a position small enough that we could ride through this and be up at a bit of a profit now. And so it would be a good time to move that stop loss up above the entry and just hang out, let it go, see what happens. It's worth the risk right now. Given that we're so close to all these bottom formations, I want to err on the side of holding, and we'll have to see how that turns out. Then we have F and NXS. And if you have any other coins you want me to take a look at, bring them up. But I'm keen to go through these ones that have proven to be profitable trades, that we saw the formation, and this Ethereum one was a pretty clear one to see as well. We saw the big bowl shape, saw the pullback, and this is where we put our buy signal in, just above here. So this was great. Prices took off. We nailed it really well. And then for this, the same thing. The stop loss would still be just above the entry and hanging out. Really giving this the time to prove itself, especially since we have some cushion above us of support from our initial entry. So we can really just hang out and let this go, see if we did get a great position that is going to turn out to be some insane profits in the future. And I do believe it. I do believe there's those insane profits coming again. This is why I put so much work into this. This is why I did all the live shows from September, October, and November as we were studying all of those bull markets. This is why when people were asking, I started making the alerts so that we could just have access to them easily. And that's why after people were still asking more questions with the alerts, I decided to put the course on again. NXS. I can only think of one thing at a time. So NXS, even though we're up some nice on this one, it's looking like it'll fade back a bit from where it is. And since we're up at a profit, likely getting in at these levels here, I would leave the stop just above the entry and hang on, let the market do its thing. Now that it's proven us correct, now I want to let the market tell me how correct I am. And NXS is up 20%, so there's still room. 20% isn't a lot of room in a cryptocurrency, though. ARK. Quantum. Yes, let's take a look at Quantum. One thing I was doing is looking at Quantum on CoinMarketCap. And I was looking at Quantum on CoinMarketCap because the other day I'd sorted everything by trading volume, and I was looking down and saying, wow, Quantum's got a lot of trading volume versus its actual market cap. So the market cap is a 200 million and we've got $300 million worth of trading. That's really big. And we can see by this chart over here, it just really pulled back. And so because we saw that amazing amount of trading volume and the market cap so low, this compared to the trading volume, it brought Quantum to my attention. And as we zoom in on quantum prices, we can see that it did a big stage, another stage, another stage. And as it was doing these stages, I was saying, though, I can't trade that because it's already started. People were saying, wow, look at quantum. And I said, I can't trade it. It's already started. I need it to consolidate. And so as it made this consolidation here, then we put on a trade pattern and it broke out. We got our buy signal. And so we're up. We're up on the trade. Still up on the trade. And now it's pulled back a little bit. But I think that with all of the volume that's going on in this market, there's something more to this market than most of the other ones. Just because of the market cap and the trading volume going on, it feels better overall. Now it's not the time to buy because it's making this formation. This is a good entry, and we can leave our stop loss just above our entry and hang out and see how it goes. But for now, I would have to wait. Again, if I was to look at this as a fresh entry, I'd have to wait for something above these levels now. I'd have to wait for the whole thing to turn around and show me strength that it's going up above this. Either that or a consolidation down to these levels where it's coming down and making a springboard entry shape. Then I'd be able to take a position. So most of the time the markets are in between. People will ask me, well, what do you think about this one? And I said, well, it's in between my trading signals. There's only a few times where everything all lines up to give us that ideal trading signal. And it's just at that moment that I can actually make a decision. A moment like this one where we saw the consolidation, the pullback, and on the 12-hour bars, it even corroborates where it's a breakout and the moving average crossover. So it's a good entry there, but now it's time to sit and wait and watch for something either way. So ARK, we already looked at EOS, then we'll look at ZIL. ARK. So ARK was a trading signal of ours. We can see it made this bottom formation. It broke into our trading signal earlier. So it gave us the trading signal. It came back in, came back up and in. We're still profitable on that. I would move the stop loss up above the entry and just sort of hang out on this one as well. It's got such great on-balance volume, really good RSI divergence. It's making a great bottom formation here. It may pull back, but you know, while we're into these bottom formations, it's really a time to be patient and just hang out. If you've got a good entry, put your stop loss above your entry and just hang out. You may still want to leave your stop loss down below where you first entered the position and give it more room when it's in this kind of formation. I'm bullish, and I don't want to get shaken out on these last wiggles before the tide comes in. Here's another one. Nice bottom formation all the way along. A new bottom formation showing strength. Good moving average crossover. We must have bought on this breakout here. This would have been what I would see as my trading pattern. To see this formation, put the orders in above these levels, hold it as it's retesting, and then prices are, you'd move your stop loss up above your entry point now and just sit back and hang out. And I like this chart formation. It's another one that I don't want to get shaken out of unnecessarily. And if I'm looking both ways before I cross the street, then I also want to pay attention to this uptrend line, because a breach of that uptrend line out of a 1, 2, 3 top formation here on a small scale would be a sell signal. So, and here's our little 1, 2, 3 top formation, and I can see that the RSI is showing weakness here. We have a less volume of trading, so the RSI is showing a bit of weakness as we have this top. We're seeing not just less volume of buying on the second top, but also a great deal more selling all around those areas. And that is a top formation. So the more of them we see in these, especially having them break and coming down all over the place, it's, that tells us to step aside. Right now, I want to err on the side of holding. Even though we're seeing these movements right now, if I go back to Bitfinex and just look at the price of Bitcoin, clear that off. I still want to err on the side of assuming that we are at a bottom and that we are going to be doing things inside this bottom formation. Inside this bottom formation. Still have my thinking on this type of idea, which has been all the way along here for this last month. I've been anticipating this, and I don't know when it'll happen and how long it'll take, but this is what I'm sort of anticipating. So let's zoom in. Let's see what's going on right this minute. Zoom into the 1 minute bar. Any green is good. Very nice classic Bart Simpson formation. And we see them all over the place. You could draw in Bart Simpson's eyes right here. And there's his hair. Crypto Kibo, you wanted to dump more. If you're short, it's a good place to have a dump more. But it wouldn't be unusual for it to come all the way down to these levels. This wouldn't be out of character at all for the building of a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation in a longer time frame. So this would give us a much deeper, more mature, more solid bottom formation. If it were to come down to these levels and then consolidate, this would be a much more significant bottom formation. And wouldn't be unusual for that to happen. Wouldn't be out of character. You got your buy in at 2,000. That's a good strategy to have some extra money put into those buy signals way down below. And if we do get that massive spike down, then you're prepared. But certainly this has made a break of this top formation right there. And we've seen that in Ethereum, Litecoin, just that those ones didn't go down as deep yet. They're out of this bottom formation, where Bitcoin is still in the bottom formation. You can see that in the background there. When I zoom in, it changes scale. But we can see that this is broken above its bottom formation and Bitcoin is still in the bottom formation. So then the difference really becomes clear. If this bounces and stays above while Bitcoin does something here, that's giving me indication that Bitcoin is going to be going higher from here sooner. If, however, we see Litecoin and Ethereum breaking down below these bottom formations, that's going to be bad. So if we go over to Ethereum, we see the same type of idea where we have it above its bottom formation. If it bounces here and shows strength, that's good. Bitcoin is going to as well. If this breaks down below this and shows weakness, that's bad. Bitcoin is going to as well. "14 people watching at crazy wee hours in the morning. And I appreciate having you guys turning up. Hopefully that the information earlier in the live stream was helpful. What we did today is we went through pretty much everything on Poloniex. We went through all these markets again to double check to see how many of them are breaking important technical levels by an uptrend. How many of them were breaking to new lows and actually coming down to break their number 1 point in their 1, 2, 3 bottom formations that have been shaping up since beginning of December? And so far, we're still in between. We're still inside this bottom formation. We haven't cracked down below it significantly enough across enough coins to say that we're still in the downtrend and going further. We're still in that trend reversal moment, and it could go on for another couple of months. It could go sideways for a long time before we get enough change and shift and momentum for the prices to be taking off. So we went over. Burst was one of the few that actually went down to new lows. Civic Coin is threatening new lows right at historical levels here, and that is not so good. But many of the others, like EOS, they are at their top formations and showing weakness, but still above their main bottom formations that we were seeing earlier. So this would be another one, sort of like Litecoin and Ethereum, that if it breaks down below these levels, then that's pretty negative. That's pretty bad. We'll be really watching Litecoin and Ethereum to see if they break down below their 1, 2, 3 bottoms they've already gone above. Yeah, what a terrible morning to wake up to. Yes, William, I'm not happy to see red candles. I'm definitely a biased bull, especially when prices have come down to these long-term historical low prices. We're down to, Bitcoin is down 88% or 85% or something like that from this peak. And all the altcoins are also down another 80% compared to Bitcoin. So the altcoins are down way further than what Bitcoin is. They've gone down compared to Bitcoin. There's been a great deflation. And now to see bottom formation shaping up everywhere, I'm a real bull. And it's a patience testing to have prices pull back and retest the lows to confirm these bottom formations even more deeply. That's a patience developing situation. So we got 14 people watching. Up on the corner of the screen here, it only says 10. Over on YouTube, it says 14. And we got 5 thumbs up. So if you like this stuff, if you're appreciating it, certainly hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't subscribed already, please do that now while we're on the live show. It does an animation, and you're recognized in the center of the screen with some music, and every time you subscribe, it knocks some hit points off of the leader. And it's Limar is the leader right now. He is the stream boss, as they call him. And I'd like to say a thank you as I'm getting ready to wrap up here. Thank you to everyone who has tipped me over the time of doing these live streams. I definitely really appreciate that. A special thank you to Old Scott and to Crypto Trader Vader for tipping in cryptocurrencies. And there's a link down below the video if you want to get added on to this Pro Tippers scroller. And I want to thank Limar for being the stream boss. I'd like to thank GBU Wally from Gunbot University for recommending our trading course to people on his community. Yes, indeed. Thank you, William. Thank you, Klaus. Thank you, AOL Chandra. And so I want to another thank you out to Gunbot University for GBU Wally for promoting our cryptocurrency trading course. Right now, it's the registration is open for the 3-week intensive, and this is probably the only 3-week intensive I'm going to do in 2019. After the 3-week intensive is done, the course will become available again as a replay, and that's what we're going to be working with for the next 6 months or 8 months before I plan to do another course. I've got some other things coming up that'll be taking my time. And so this is the time. If you want to get into this course and have this 3-week intensive, now's the time to act. It'll be a lifetime membership. You'll always get benefit from it. But if you want that live interactive training experience, now's the time to get into this training course. And that will be it for today. I'll wrap it up. Thank you for your attendance. Thank you for being here. Look for your comments below and let me know what you are trading, what your thoughts are in all of these markets. Thanks again, and all the best in your cryptocurrency trading.